Hello. Welcome back to All Mama All Right. As you can see, I can't contain my excitement. I'm just really stoked for this episode. And reason being, I just got out. I'm doing this 21, my husband and I are doing this 21 day abundance challenge. And I thought it was just going to be maybe shaming me for for my spending, but no, getting me out of like my spending tendencies and just behaviors. I thought it was just going to be money based, but it has turned into so much more. And today we really focused. We have this gal Julie Murphy on, and I wish I could give her a proper introduction, but I googled Julie Murphy, and there are like bazillions of great Julie Murphys out there. So, but she just talked a lot about receiving, and how to open certain blockers um, in order to receive abundance and money. Um, and it's not as easy as it sounds. And or maybe it's just that. Maybe it's so simple, but we're all making it so much harder than it needs to be. So maybe manifesting the simplicity of becoming the trillionaire that all of us may desire. But I do believe abundance looks so different for everybody, and it comes in a lot of things. I just noticed this fish pillow. I hope you guys don't mind. Little Zena's fish is going to be joining us today. Um, and it fits so in line with my last agreement to self, number 3, which is receiving spiritual abundance and being of service. So let's just jump in and start chatting. One thing that I with the I've learned that it's never my plan. It's always a plan that is held and scripted and manufactured from something that is bigger than me. And in this case, God. And if I am not in alignment with what my path is, I'll be forced onto that path. And that was so apparent now looking back, on how I started how I'm starting All Mama All Right. I found a company that I was working for the past almost 2.5 years, or 2.5 years, almost 3, and loved everything about it. Loved the people, loved the location. It was in San Francisco, and it was an old railroad building, and then we moved to a new location right by the ferry building, and I loved. Well, I mean, it was. I'm so people driven. I am so people driven, and I joined this company as an office manager. And with all startups, you tend to wear a lot of hats. And so, hired is one thing, and then you kind of multiply you need to find ways how to multiply yourself into the various other roles that you're kind of thrown into. And ended up being an EA to executive assistant, to one of the co-founders, and obsessed with that person, in a very professional way. Learned so much. But and then later I was able to get into recruiting. And then finally I was able to move into onboarding. Bottom line, it was always about the people. That's where my drive was. That's where my attention to detail was, still is. That's where any chance I got to, you know, to be of service. And when my role started, and I became mine. So I held this job on a pedestal because I really felt like we were in alignment. And then I became a mom. And for all you mamas out there, you are just thrown into this other world where your body's not your own, your mind doesn't work, and you have this little creature that you're now in charge of. And you're thinking, what did I care about before? And I or what was I good at before? Because I really felt from the second that, not the second, but just, the more I was doing the mom thing, I was like, this is just, oh my God, I'm loving this. I I am loving the poop accidentally in my hair, and the spit up staining every single shirt, along with the leaky boobies and the milk staining every single shirt. Which, did you guys know that breast milk really stains clothing? I think I went through so many. Anyways, um, and and so I was able to take, I took extra time away. I took a full 6 months using, any scrap of vacation time and government time. I w- not only needed, but wanted, like desired. I had a passion for that time with my daughter. And and then, you I convinced myself that I was ready to go back, and came back to, again, people that I love, a job that I love, that was actually like altered to fit my new lifestyle. We had moved during COVID from San Francisco to Carmel Valley. So we were gonna, just figure it out. And those were the type of people and the type of company that it was. It was like, let's figure it out together. And there was just something missing. It was the force that I was feeling of trying to convince myself that I wanted to do both, and that I needed to do mom and work life, be that type of working mom. And honestly, I was dying inside. I was so sad anytime I would have to, like, leave Zenna. And again, again, professional actress of putting up facade. Um, I, really tried to prescribe to both those worlds, and then at the end of the day, I'd always be thinking about what work I didn't get to, or what um what I did, and a lot of stuff started going wrong. And I wonder why. That's when the universe just started, like, plant planting those seeds. It started, um or banging me over the head, really. There was no real planting of seeds, because I was trying to do it all. I was trying to do the 2.5 hour the commute to and from work on some days, trying to attend every event that, and this was still during COVID times, so like nothing was mandatory. But again, I love people, so I'm like, no, I gotta go, I gotta show up. So dragging poor Zenna, here and there, and we're staying at my grandmother's house, or we're staying at my mom's, because they live close to San Francisco. and then working all day and then getting home, and that's when I was able to breathe. When I was back home with Senna, it was just like phew. I was at times able to be incredibly present with her. So I was trying that, and then we found, a nanny that was able to help out, and we got, but, with the nanny, another sign from the universe, we never got into a rhythm. Things happened, with on the from the nanny's end and what she was dealing with in life, and then things with Zena, and Zena getting hip dysplasia and all of those appointments then we're getting in way of work. So it, it just kept getting harder and harder and harder to do the job that I thought was supposed to be my dream job at work, taking away from maybe my dream job of being a mom, and a mom. I mean, I don't want to say and just a mom. That isn't a what, and just a mom. We got it. We got to change that to be awesome. Anyways, I digress. And so it was never easy. Never easy when the second I returned back to work. So that was in May, and so basically May, June, July, August, September, October. So about 6 months of hardship, of just struggling all the time, and it got to the point of comical, with some of the mistakes that I felt like I or the universe forced me to make. um because I couldn't do it all. Well, I didn't want to do it all. I could have continued working the 17 to almost 20-hour days, and that's all the work that goes in behind the scenes, and it turns into those long days because again, the nanny was not working out, and so I was doing both with the help of my husband, but it was a balancing act, and we were not in rhythm. And when you're not in rhythm with one thing, you're not in rhythm with all things. I mean, the waves are crashing, and when you get stuck under the current and you're just like trying so desperately to swim to the top, but there's a reason you're being forced down, and it's because you're just not stopping and then allowing the current to take you to the top. I was fighting, 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 fighting. And man, um, and it got to a point where the company had to hit me on a personal level. And how I saw it is, I had all the support, taking care of Zena, going to her appointments, and obviously that takes away from work, and so that part was suffering. And instead of talking about it, I was kind of thrown into a situation where it became life or death with my job. It became, you're here or you're not. And I felt completely blindsided and abandoned. So it goes back to certain abandonment wounds. And it was the first time I was like, wow, this is not my family. And I had always said, I'm in recruiting. So I'm like, oh, join a work family, join a work family. And I was like, I can't even do my job right now because I probably won't ever be able to do the job because I don't believe in it. And, besides being so heartbroken because it was nothing about the people, it was just about the company has to work. It has to, and because my we weren't aligned anymore. We just weren't aligned anymore. That's the only way that that my attention was gonna be had, be, um, is being hit hard, hit on a personal note, and waking up to I choose family, my actual family. And that was it. That was it. It was it was one of the hardest yet easiest decisions to make, but for how long I was fighting it, it makes sense that just when I was not in vibration with the universe. And so the universe was, you know, throwing all of these wrenches. And you're good at dodging them at the beginning, and then you get hit and it's like, and then you get hit again, you're like, ow. but society tells us we got to keep going and keep doing, and of course you have to be a working mom and a mom, and uh what, you're just going to be a stay-at-home mom? Which, oh, that just gives me chills, because for those that know, being a mom is the hardest job in the world. And what, I will save that topic for another day. um so yeah, so things that the career that I thought was meant for me was my biggest block. And the biggest block is stop fighting the realization that I do not like this, that I do not like the what I was doing at that company. Just realize it. And it's so hard when my whole life I built up the, what type of person I'm going to be with working and motherhood, and then it no, it's just no. Um and it's a good no. It's a good no, you guys. Um Humans, it's a good no. And now I'm just really, like, I feel like I'm flowing. And so I left, it was completely mutual how it ended up happening, which, I love these people, because when I announced that I was leaving, then, you know, they wanted to throw a happy hour. It was so cute. So I got a lot of my goodbyes, and, it was always only goodbye for now, but and I'll always support the company to forever and ever, 100 plus years, right? Um and then I got to just think and stop and pause and breathe into, just actually listen to the universe. What am I here to do, to be, to see, to feel? And that has turned into this. I truly feel it. And because of people talking to you, and my drive to continue growing and learning and teaching and listening and loving, and all of my passion is people. So I want to be in alignment with that. And let's see, I have some good notes from today. And so you gotta build muscles. I really like that, the building of muscles to finding abundance, and to opening the heart that that has been closed, um, from traumas. We all experience trauma before the age of 7, and then you have your heart blocked, from allowing these gifts to come in. Our poor little hearts, right? And and then we get to just for the rest of our life, um, with every breath and every new belief in self and following our faith and listening to that darn universe stop getting hit by the wrenches, we come into our passions. And all mama all right came with my husband Zena and I taking a hike in Joshua Tree, and just listening and talking and feeling into, my husband would throw questions at me, and and I would just try and answer as quickly as possible. And I do have to give credit to that man because he did come up with the name All Mama All Right. But the second that he said it, I just started crying. I just started crying because it 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 was my heart bursting open, knowing that that is what I'm meant to do. That is why I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here for me. I'm here for Zena. I'm here for any person and human that needs that needs another human for whatever reason, for, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, abundance, connection, um, air high fives. I've gotten pretty good at those, during this whole COVID. And I am so excited to being open to receive and then being of service. And I think that is just where I will flow down the river, deep blue sea. Isn't that a kid song? Um, what isn't a kid song nowadays? I swear. But I am going to stay in vibration with the universe. I I know you will too. And looking forward to the next episode and the next episode. And I've answered the three agreements that I'm just gonna be, practicing for definitely this year, but heck, I'm gonna be practicing them for life. Because life is great. Okay, I'm gonna stop before I start singing. But I had so much fun with you all. And until next time, this mama is signing off. Alrighty, y'all.